So we have this paper introducing literature with you, and we have seen an introduction on what is literature, and what is you might have an idea about what you are going to learn through this course, English language and literature. So the first semester there is introducing literature for you. So it is something that tries to explain to you how the literary language is, and how the language of literature which is influencing the social cultural elements, and the social cultural elements of a particular society, a particular age, which is actually going to make of literature. Okay, again this particular piece of writing or this text it's just make you aware why literature is needed for this world, and how it is written. Okay, what is the difference between literary and non-literary piece of writing. So again it gives you a practical look at literature, and it analyzes literary works to see what they are made of. So altogether we have 4 modules here. So I am dealing with the first module. So the first part of paper, which has got a title which is a language and its literary nuances. So literary nuances means linguistic aspects of literature, the language and its aspect. So how is literary language different from a normal language? Is there a difference between literary and non-literary? So is there a difference between normal way of speaking or that other in literary piece of writing? Okay, and so we have the first text, which is language, its literary nuances. So again we have first module, we have 2 parts. The first part deals with the syntax, second part deals with literary technique. What are 2 parts is there in the first module? We have 2 parts. First part is divided, deals with the syntax of language, and second part deals with the literary technique. That is literary technique means what is the difference between ordinary language and literary language. So we shall see what is the syntax. Have you heard the word syntax before? Okay, so syntax, so we will be dealing the language and its nuances, various aspect of language in the first module. Okay, language that is used in literature is different, that for sure we know that, and that is different from the ordinary way of speaking. And while scientific and ordinary language are objective and direct, literary language is creative. What is the speciality of literature? Which is more imaginative, it is creative, and writers often use language in innovative way. Okay, so that is something, they experiment with language, they experiment with word order. Okay, they put language the best use, in the best order. Okay, and explore all the possibilities of language. So what is the ordinary language do? Ordinary language is something that is used to convey a simple message, but literature deals with complex emotions that people experience in the life. So it in a creative way that they are using it. So the problem faced by many, that most of us Malayalam speakers, is the difference between structure of English and Malayalam. Okay, we know that there is a fundamental difference between the structure of English and the structure of Malayalam. So Malayalam, the meaning of a sentence does not change when the word order changes. Okay, for example, njan manga tinnu, tinnu njan manga, manga njan tinnu. So there is no difference in the change of meaning. Okay, so when we have he ate mango, mango ate he mango. Okay, so there is a particular structure of word order in English, whereas in Malayalam, if we place one word in the end or the beginning or the middle position, we have the same meaning. That is not the case of English. So English is not the case. Okay, and we should know the word structure difference. So we should not think in Malayalam and say in English. So we should think in English and say in English. That is what the method. So okay, verbs are what is, what is verb? What is a verb? Verbs are words which denote action in language, so that do action. So verb, in your small classes you might have heard of transitive verb, intransitive verbs. You heard of it, transitive and intransitive? Okay, for example, in the case Shaji ate a biscuit, or I ate a biscuit. So in this sentence, which one is the verb? Ate. Ate is the verb. If the verb answers the question what, whom, we have the verb as a transitive verb. Okay, if we ask a question what did Mary eat, we have the answer. What does Mary eat? Mary ate a biscuit. So thus ate is the transitive verb. So again we have the example, she left the keys on the table. So we should get a what, when answer. What, when answer is something we get from transitive verb. She left the keys on the table. What he left? Whom he left? Okay, my father took me to the movies. Okay, so intransitive verbs are he walked home. If you ask the question what did he walk, we do not get the answer. Thus we can say that walk is an intransitive verb. So there are certain sentences like I gave him some money, which answer not only the question what was given but also whom it was given. So such verbs which take two objects are known as ditransitive verbs. Verbs which take only single verb are known as monotransitive verbs. Now you will be in a confusion thinking what is transitive and what is intransitive verb. Okay, a transitive verb needs to take an object, okay, to complete the sentence, while an intransitive verb does not need an object. That is a simple thing. Okay, for example, she saw a movie yesterday. Okay, again there is another example, somebody hit the beggar. My friends are planning a trip to Delhi. So the verb in the three sentences like hit, so, planning, requires object in order to complete the sentence, hence a transitive verb. What, whom, things are like that. So she saw a movie yesterday. So my friends are planning a trip to Delhi. Planning, that is the object. Somebody hit the beggar. Hit the beggar. So somebody hit. My friends are planning trip to Delhi. So these are the transitive verbs. Whereas the lady walks fast. My dog ran. She has been walking all day. This in this sentences the verbs are walk, ran, working, do not require an object and are called intransitive verb. So transitive is a sentence having an object and a verb. So that is what we call transitive. A verb which does not have an object, which is what we call intransitive. Very simple. So a transitive verb may take two kinds of object, direct object and indirect object. The indirect object is placed before direct object. For example, she presented him a watch on his birthday. Him is the indirect object and watch is the direct object. So that is very simply what is transitive and intransitive verb. So you just take your book and just find transitive and intransitive in the sentences. The first one, drones are flying in the sky. I want to leave early. The choir sang carol. They laughed uncontrollably. My dog ran. You just find out the transitive and intransitive verb in these sentences now. Next we have yet another language function which makes Malayalam and English another difference, which are called adjunct. What are adjunct? Adjunct are words and phrases or clauses that accompany an intransitive verb. What? Without an object, which answers the questions like where, how, when, and the action took place. For example, he spoke last night. Last night here is a phrase which answers the question when. And in the sentence, he spoke at the seminar. Seminar is a word. So in the sentence, he spoke uneasily. Uneasily is a how. So this is a adjunct part of a sentence is removed, does not affect the words in the sentence. He spoke. Okay, he spoke at the seminar, he spoke last night, he spoke uneasily. So this is all the adjunct. Adjunct is something that is accompany an intransitive verb without any object. John helped Bill in the New York. So very simple. So adjuncts are words, phrases or clauses that accompany an intransitive which answers the question where, how and when the action took place. And the third language device we have is inversion, inversion. So writers often change the word order, okay, in a sentence to create a novelty, to create a newness in the minds of the reader. However, we will not be able to understand the change of order, or a change of order we can call that inversion, unless we are familiar with the usual order of words in the language. And understanding of the structure or syntax, this is all we call syntax known as word order in a sentence. Okay, necessary to understand and appreciate literature properly. So a writer may even invert a proper word of eyes of words to give emphasis to one thing or the another. So here we have a story, Eyes of the Cat. So Eyes of the Cat by Ruskin Bond. Which one? Eyes of the Cat by Ruskin Bond. So I'll give you a brief introduction of this particular piece of writing, Eyes of the Cat. So this is a light horror story. I'll give you a brief introduction on the story, a summary of the story. So the setting of the story are perfect to support the horror elements. For instance, just at the start, the author mentioned her eyes seemed flecked with gold when the sun was on them. Get that? So this is how that particular one which refers the horror element. Her eyes seemed flecked with gold when the sun was on them. Also, the other significant element in the story is mistreatment with poor students. The protagonist of the story is Kiran. So Kiran is a ninth class student. She is the poorest in her class owing to some reasons, and she lives in a small wooden cottage in some village on top of a mountain, and there are many dark pine and oak forest around. And so this is a summary of the story. Okay, she attends a school in an old tunic, torn blouse, falling apart shoes. This is her attire, and for this reason her school teacher passes sarcastic remarks to mock her before other students. What is the reason? In an old പഴയ ഡ്രസ്സാണ്, old tunic, torn blouse and falling apart shoes. And this is something her teacher always mock her, ridicule her in front of all other students, and the teacher pushes her to change the school if she cannot afford basic things like her attire or dress. Teacher's constant remarks anger Kiran. Well, Kiran's two female friends sympathize with her. That school teacher runs private tuition, and Kiran is not a part of that academy, and thus she is more sarcastic to Kiran. And the girls, those who attend her academy, are sycophant by nature. So she has a kind of an attraction toward sympathies towards those people. So one evening while returning home, Kiran was fuming about the remarks that teacher made about her, and there is a lot of anger in her eyes. She parted ways with her two best friends. So the best friends names are Aarti and Sunita, and it was becoming a full moon night. Her body begins changing in the moonlight. She becomes a different person by feeling her queer sensation. Okay, she hurries to her small cottage, and when the moon was full, she turned into a sinew leopard, okay, out for revenge. On the other side, the teacher, unaware of her surrounding, comes out of a party club at full moon night. racing ahead for her home alone. The leopard already waiting for the teacher near the steps of home. As soon as the teacher, lost in her trance, approaches the home vicinity. Okay, the leopard pounces upon the teacher. The teacher realizes the awful situation in such shock that she could not even scream for help. The leopard kills her by attacking on her throat. Okay, which was a source of pouring poison to poor students. Okay, throat. That is the revenge taken. Revenge is one of the strongest themes in the story, but at the same time, a life of hilly students as now how they have to struggle for basic education and how and the other amenities. So the story is set against the backdrop of a higher Himalaya. Okay, as the way Ruskin describes the pine forest, darkness in common. Also, throughout the story, the author has used sarcastic and humor tone. So, what are the literary devices? There is a sarcastic, there is a humor tone to keep the main character in an never-ending anger mode. So here is we are talking about inversion, a particular piece of change of word order. So Ruskin Bond very skillfully uses that inversion in this short story, Eyes of the Cat. Okay, so as a children we might have had a lot of readings on Ruskin Bond. Okay, children's literature. So there is a particular sentence in the the short story, like her steps seemed to grow lighter, her limbs more sinewy as she moved gracefully, softly over the mountain path. So this is how she changed. Kiran changed into a leopard. So in this sentence, how the cat moves is given more importance than where she moves. Okay, so the native speakers often use small particles with verbs, although they do not make any change to the meaning of what is being said. Okay, for example, instead of saying stand, so we should say like stand up. So up is a particle which is used with the stand in the case. So however, there are certain particles which change the meaning of a verb when they are used along with the verb, like phrasal verbs. We know phrasal verbs like look after, put on, put up with, these all have different meanings. Okay, the word put means to place something. For example, put the book on the table. So however, the phrasal verb put on means wear. Put on your hat means wear. So on is a particle used with the verb put in this case. So everything is different. So we have sometimes to who the eye of heaven shines. So the eyes of heaven shines too hot. So there are literary devices which makes what a literary piece more interesting. So these are the transitive. Intransitive we have, adjunct we have, inversion is we have. So these are the literary nuances, the syntax which makes a literary piece very different from the ordinary language.